Hey everyone, welcome to Tech and Tidy, the podcast about cleaning businesses and the people that keep them running. I'm your host, Brent Monson. Today I'm joined by Mimi and Bill Kromah of Gifted Hands Cleaning Services, a Sacramento-based company that they founded in 2017. And what started as a decision to spend time together has grown into a powerhouse operation. Um, they've secured government contracts. That'll kind of be our topic today, but we're mostly excited to get to know them, get to know their story, and figure out how they've gotten to this point in their business. So, Mimi and Bill, welcome to Tech and Tidy. It's good to
Thank you
have you.
so much.
Thanks
Yes,
for
thank you,
having us.
Brent. Yeah.
So, Mimi, Bill, take us back to the beginning. So, you started the company in 2017. What made you decide at that point that entrepreneurship was the next step on your journey?
That's a good
I'm gonna
question.
let my wife go on that one. Yeah.
So when we when we first got started, I feel like it was like a calling for us for the most part. We always knew that we wanted to be entrepreneurs. I honestly want to say we didn't really use the entrepreneur word then, but we was always writing the vision and saying what we were going to do. Our career fields are I was a traveling phlebotomist and my husband was an HVAC specialist. So that's where we come from, the healthcare and heating and air sector, right? And so, but we were always saying what we wanted to start out as, like what kind of company we wanted to build and what we wanted it to look like. And so that's how we ended up here. Just kept writing a vision. Finally, we was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Finally, do it in 2017, and then that's when we went forward.
Yeah. And I think too, our first mind wasn't to start a cleaning company. We wanted to do a in-home care agency. Because again, my wife health background, I also did chaplaincy. So I'm a chaplain, certified chaplain. And so we spent a lot of time in the healthcare setting and we kind of saw that, hey, there's a need here. So we really wanted to do an in-home care agency and start there and then build out more into the health sector. But California started regulating the industry in 16. So the year 17, when we started, it was, I think, the first year that you had to get a state certification. And anything state certification is an expensive undertaking. So for us, it was at least.
Mm.
But they want you to have your business license to get started. You got to have a handyman license and all those things. And so these were the things you needed to start a cleaning company. So we got it and we was like, instead of waiting until we got what we thought we needed to get pursue the state license, why not just start a cleaning company? And so even the name was supposed to be Gifted Hands In-Home Care Agency.
Yeah.
And then so we just kind of tilted over
Mm.
to Gifted Hands Cleaning Services. So that's the whole beginning of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So what did yeah, you have to be practical, right? You have
Oh,
to be
yes.
practical about setting these things up. And what did the day-to-day look like in those early years?
Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
I like to always say we was chasing the bag because when you first start off, you just any money that you can make, you was happy to make. So when we first started out, we started out at
Mm.
residential cleaning. And so any jobs that we can get, we can honestly say that the first first customers, they got a lot of work out of us for a little bit of money for sure, because we would spend 8 hours in the home. We clean the way how we clean is like very thorough. We get every nick and cranny. And so we did a lot of work in some homes, and so our day to day would look like, hey, we're going from home to home. We'll do about 2 to 3 homes in a day. We were working with some property managements. We used to also post on Groupon, so we were getting a lot of people in and giving good deals. And so any work we were getting, we was making sure it got done. So
Yeah, those early years was chaos for sure because we didn't necessarily understand the man hours, right? So
yeah,
if we quote somebody 6 hours and there's two people, it's supposed to be 3 hours. And so we were two people for 6 hours, sometimes three people for six
yeah,
hours. And so they got a lot of good work out of us. But it was part of the learning curve, right? Because we didn't necessarily have and any sort of organization that we were a part of that could help us make sure we understood how to price, how to make sure that you're getting given the right hours, etc. So the early years was very chaotic. It was very
Okay.
tiring. And so because my wife and I jumped into this thing head first and full time at that, it was very chaotic because it's not like one of us was doing a job, our regular job, and then this person was doing the cleaning. We both jumped in
Yeah, I'm
head
glad
on.
you said that.
Yeah.
We both jumped in, left our jobs, and went full head forward. And Brent, you said, what does the day to day look like? We were literally like making sure we're sending invoices throughout the day while we're working, answering calls, still taking appointments throughout the day. Sometimes laptop on the steering wheel in the car, like let me excuse myself from here and go work. We would even have some customers that say, "Oh, the lady in the office gave me this deal." The lady in the office, they didn't know they were talking to the lady in the to the lady in the office. So I'm just like, "Oh, okay. Is that what the lady in the office said?" And sometimes some people will try to, say the lady in the office said this percentage, and I know I did not say that, but I'll, customer's
Honor.
always right. We'll honor it. And
Yeah.
say, if the lady in the office said that, I'll make sure I have a conversation with her. But for sure, we will take care of that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. You were everything. You were the lady in the office and the lady doing the work.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So how did you take it to the next level? I guess maybe was that moving into commercial contracts and moving away from those residential jobs?
Mhm. We used to love the residential. We, moved from doing, like, routine cleaning or scheduled cleanings all the time. Then we moved into move-ins and move-outs, and then was it move-in, move-outs was the last thing?
Mhm.
Move-in, move-outs, and then we moved into the commercial because we had a couple of commercial, um, buildings already, and so wanna
Yeah, and then after that, we just started saying, you know what, let's sit back and instead of trying to do everything, let's kind of find a niche and kind of focus on that opposed to us just kind of chasing our tails. And so we made that decision, I think 2 years into it, 2 or 3 years into it. And we had to cut it because it was very enticing because with the reoccurring, you get paid same day. With the commercial, as you know, it's, net 30. And if you're doing the state stuff, it gets a little ugly. But that was one of the main reasons we felt, hey, let's niche ourselves, the industry. Overall, you guys know better than any that is very saturated, especially in California. So it's the low hanging fruit. Anybody can get a mop bucket and some toilet brush and go, start a cleaning business. So it's highly highly competitive. So separating ourselves started to help us really understand. In the book we read that really helped us was Blue Ocean Strategies. So after reading that book, it kind of gave us a better understanding of why it's important to niche and not to be so much focused on the competition and what they're doing, but come over here and create your own blue ocean. So
Yes.
that really helped us do that. But other than that, we would have still been chasing
Mhm.
chasing the dollar.
And the residential for us was kinda up and down. It's a hit and miss if a customer have a bad month and bills are the first thing to go was the cleaning, the
Yeah.
cleaning services. We can skip this month or so, and we wanted something a little bit more consistent, especially if we weren't just thinking about like, "Oh, this company is gonna just serve me and Bill." We wanted to make sure that we was offering, opportunities to our community, to other people, to everywhere, and so we wanted to start hiring and getting other people on to be able to provide a good job. So we wanted that consistency, and obviously you can get that in commercial buildings. It's not it's a lot more better, I would say.
Yeah. And people might argue this, but from our perspective, the it's a slightly higher liability because especially if you're sending employees into customer homes,
Yes.
there's so many things. Because I know when we started sending employees into people homes, They were breaking frames that customers were saying that had sentimental values, and so we had to pay exponential
Mm.
amounts just to replace it because there was no way to argue that. And so it started to get a little, so for us, the commercial side of things, I mean, there's still liability there, but it's not as high as you've been in a home and the stay-home mothers, they're following you while you're cleaning. You're telling, "Hey, the floor is wet. Be careful, slip and fall." And so for us, we just kind of felt it was a little bit more um, uh, liability there than we would have liked. So I think all of those things kind of factor in while we pivoted.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard that insight before, but it's true. Yeah, people's
Mhm.
homes or environments can be all sorts, right?
Yeah.
Quick pause here. If you're a new listener to Tech and Tidy, this show is presented by Clean Smarts, which our team created to solve a lot of the problems you hear discussed on these episodes. Clean Smarts is a cleaning management software platform designed to help building service contractors and janitorial teams run like clockwork. Whether you're scheduling crews across multiple sites, tracking hours, managing equipment, or improving profitability, CleanSmarts brings it all together with an intuitive mobile app that employees love. It's one comprehensive system so teams can show up, get the job done, and improve the quality of their service. We also just launched the brand new CleanSmarts web app, a more modern experience with new and improved tools and powerful add-ons to make day-to-day operations easier and more efficient. If you want to future-proof your cleaning operations, find out more at cleansmarts.com. Now back to our conversation.
Um,
You kind of alluded to you know, bidding being very competitive. So, what's been your experience going into these bidding processes? You talked about kind of having your niche. How do you make yourself stand out in those bids and land on a number that's competitive, but, still protects your business?
mm,
I mean, we're still figuring it out. I don't think you will ever say you have arrived. What we learned is the grassroots. I mean, if you're going to be in a community, really immerse yourself in that community to where people know you, right? Brand recognition. It helps because then you're almost vouched for in certain areas that can give you a leg up. From our experience, again, everybody have different experiences. But for us, that has helped us a lot. As far as the going in and competing, we do our best to not be the cheapest one in the room. We tend to be upper middle, if
mhm,
that makes sense, right? Because again, we don't want to be the most expensive either, but then we know our worth, we know the value that we bring,
yeah.
and so we have been very fortunate. God has blessed us in ways that we're not desperate no more to where we have to get a contract. We're still building, but now we're able to set our price, and then let the customer understand what we're bringing to the table with the experiences and some of the references that we're bringing to them. And so that's what really separates us from the low guy because uh, one thing we know to be true is you get what you pay for. And that statement has rang true because they'll go with the lowest bidder, but at the end of the day, you get what you pay for because a lot of these guys are inexperienced. And so they're doing it at a lower price because, again, some of them, granted, are trying to just get in and they do good work, right? But the percentage of those people are very slim versus the ones that are new that just want to kind of get in the door. So they're willing to lower the price but don't have the experience,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Make a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. In our conversation earlier, you had mentioned that you pursued some government contracts. It sounds like you've got some state contracts. How does that process, how is that different from private sector going after those contracts?
I would say the biggest difference with this private versus state, with the state, you don't have negotiating power. We have been able to on certain ones because of our reputation, where we're able to kind of, wiggle a little bit. Um, um, but on the private side of things, you can absolutely, you have the power there. The state, federal contracts, local contracts, they tend to be kind of set because they have a set aside and they have to meet these quotas. And so they basically want to make sure that it's minority business, it's a small business, et cetera, et cetera. They're not asking for experience. This is something we've been advocating for from some of the agencies that, hey, you need to ask these guys how long they've been in business, check some references to kind of help support why the pricing is why it is. Whether it's a low price or high price, why is it high or why is it low? And so we've been very voiceful in that, letting them know that to be fair, this is the only way to do it. If not, you're going to give it to a guy that just started and they don't know what they're doing. So there's some of those that are transferable on both sides, but the biggest difference in the two is that state, there's not much wiggle room to negotiate your price. On the private side, you can negotiate your price based on the quality and their experiences, and that customer is it gives them the opportunity to make a decision based on that more pricing versus an experience versus just pricing.
Oh.
Mm. And then you kind of said that cash flow with some of those contracts is a little harder. Is
Yeah,
it that it
For
just
sure.
invoices get paid a little bit later?
Well, the state and we haven't had that experience so much of with the government. We have done like some emergency services for the government, but we have yet to win that government contract just yet. We have been bidding, but we haven't won one just yet. We won like that one that we bidded with, which was emergency services. But far as with like the state contracts, those are the net 30 accounts, and then they have that mid-year where they're turning over different things. And so when we realized like, oh my gosh, we got paid far as an employee wise 3 times this month. We paid out 3 times this month, but we're like, why does it seem short this month some reason? And then we'll realize like, oh, okay, because we're at the half quarter mark. So things are, everybody's in limbo right now between January and June. Those 2 times we always know that you got to prepare for those 2 times of the year, because if not, you will be stuck in limbo, and it took us a little while to learn that, but we learned it as we continue to grow.
Yeah, so what my wife said is true because with the local, we have won plenty of local contracts, still have some, which is like the local government, county stuff, and then state, your EDD office, all of those are under state. So we have plenty of those and have won plenty of those, but the actual federal contracts, so those are the categories. And so, but some people just group them
Mm.
all under federal contracts. Which I mean, the Fed is kind of giving them that money, so I guess you could
I
consider
think
that.
when you think about government, a lot of time you have the gurus that are on YouTube and stuff and say they're winning these $1 million contracts. That's what I think of when you say like government contracts. So we haven't got the $1 million contract yet, but we've been fortunate to bid and win some great contracts like state and federal, like my husband was saying.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your
Yeah.
question.
No, no, that's great. Yeah, just kind of trying to understand. Yeah, that it sounds like there's a lot that you've learned, right? That
For sure.
with each year of experience, right? Just
Mhm.
learning different, yeah, all the different things you need to know to get these different contracts.
Yeah. We attend a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean, I
events
guess
as
it kind of.
well. With our certifications, they reach
Oh,
out
okay.
to us,
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
throughout the year. Sorry. with our certifications, like throughout the year, they reach out to us like to attend these webinars, to attend different events, networking events, and we attend them all and we make sure we soak up all the information that they're given. Even
Yeah.
year after year, it's the same information, but there's always an update of something. And I would say to keep going, we keep going because either it's something new to learn, or if you got to repeatedly keep hearing that information over and over again, but that's how you learn. And so once you learn, then you know how to who is your contact, who we are supposed to be reaching out to, who, who's who. And these people continue to see you to get to know you as well. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of times they're kind of
Mm.
scary to talk to, but they're not, because once they get to know you, they're like, yeah, send me this. I can help you with that. They can help you kind of, help structure some things in your business where you think you're lagging because we've never ran a company before. And now we're at this level. Now we've never been at this level before. And so how do we function at this level now? And sometimes you need that help. And we're grateful for some of the resources that we have, like the SBA and SBDC, those resources that we can reach out to for mentorship.
Yeah. And I guess a real practical question, how did you get on those mailing lists? How did you start hearing about those seminars and webinars?
So our certifications, we have a lot of certifications, and a lot of times with those certifications, when they have your email, they make sure that they flood your email with a lot of different events, and it's throughout the year. You have Business Week that comes up. Is it that what it's called? Business Week. This week that's coming up is like Women's Week or something like that. So we'll be going to women conferences next week, and all type of events, and they'll be back to back. And so we normally get those emails. When we do, we just make sure we RSVP. And if me and Bill cannot make it, we do have a team so they can make it on our behalf and go and get that information. Even as they're learning too in their roles, they're able to go out there and get that information as well.
Yeah, and another thing too is just the consistency because these agencies, even though a lot of it is lowest bidder, but some of these agencies have they have the authority or the discretion that they can use to make sure they handpick certain people that they see at the events, they talk to, the professionalism, and with those opportunities, that's when you can negotiate with them because they either have tried these other companies and they're having to cancel contracts and start them here and start them there, but when they see you and they consistently keep seeing you, it gives them a thing now when they say, hey, give me your card because our last guy isn't working out, and so we would love to reach out to you and see if you can do the scope of work that we have, and then boom, now you're in the door. So it just, that thing that said word of mouth, because even with some of the state contracts we have, a lot of it has been word of mouth, which is awesome when the state can refer you to another agency.
For sure.
And like I said, usually that is kind of based on them getting tired of having to cancel contract because they are hiring the lowest bidder. So at that point now, you come highly, recommended, and so you're able to kind of have the ability to wiggle a little bit. So I think that is something definitely to be considered. As you're networking and doing these different things, it's the consistency, and they keep seeing you over and over. It gives them the opportunity to want to do business with you.
Mhm. You asked a question earlier too,
Yeah,
Brent,
that's
about
great advice.
mhm. You asked earlier something like what goes into our bidding and how do you think about the numbers and things like that. This the number guy. He's the one who takes care. That's why he's answering most of the questions because he does the bidding and things like that. I can do the paperwork and I can do the numbers too, but he's the one who handles that. But I was thinking about we actually won a contract, a state contract off of a flip of a coin because another company that we were bidding
Really?
with, we bid the same exact numbers. We don't know how that happened, but everything was the exact. So I was like, I don't know. You working for two companies, Bill? Somebody got the same brain as you or something, but we came up with the same numbers, and when that happened, we had to meet them at a state office and do a flip of a coin, and we won that contract by choosing what was it, heads?
Heads, yeah. Can't go wrong with heads, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was a rare moment
Oh,
for
Those
so
are
them
you
to
rare
literally
moments.
meant to wow.
yeah.
Yes. They were surprised too. They was like, "We've never had to do this before, but we've heard of it, but we've never had to do it, and here we are, we're doing this." So,
It's called a tiebreaker rule. So
mhm,
essentially they have to break the tie and that's how they do it, a flip of a coin. So
yeah,
yeah, so it was nice.
that was a cool experience.
Mhm.
That is a cool story. Well, yeah, and I can kind of see a theme in your in how you've grown your business, right? You're getting out there, you're making connections, you're showing up, and it seems like you're rewarded for that.
Mm,
Yeah.
So that's great.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess last question. Um, is there any advice that you have for any of our listeners who are maybe thinking about starting a cleaning business or they're in the very first years of it, looking back at now almost a decade here
I
in
know.
gifted hands? What advice do you
Wow.
have for them?
I'll go first. My advice is always like just do it because you can be sitting there like us in the beginning, writing a vision, constantly writing it down and never making your move. But the best thing you can do is start. Just do it. You'll get the customers. Any type of cleaning, someone's always gonna need something clean. But just do it.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because that was our attitude. It's like, don't just sit there and keep making the plans. I think one of the things we did that was very practical early on was we worked from the beginning, I mean, from the end and worked backwards, right?
Yes, thank you
So
for that.
we wanted to see, okay, what kind of company will we be? What's the end goal? How we going to do this? I think that was something that we did early on that kind of set us on this path that we're
Yes.
currently on because now we're finding out that the industry is so saturated because again, it's a low entry point, right? It's the low hanging fruit. But what people need to understand is instead of starting your own company, there are companies out there that will entertain a conversation like, "Hey, I want to start my own company, but um, it was so much going on. I don't have no experience. What is it going to be if come work with you guys? Is there any room for ownership with you all?"
Mm,
Right? Because for us, that make more sense because now you can in turn become an entrepreneur and help grow the company and then you still get what you want because you are also a part owner. But I think everybody just want to have this um, I think it's a romanticized idea of business owner of starting a business that people love, and because of that, um, they will not want to collaborate in that way. That instead they want to do it themselves. But then if they understand what goes into running the business early on, they will probably consider that first. But because again, you can't tell somebody that has this fire in their belly to do what they want to do
right.
to say, "Hey, slow down, come work with us 2 3 years," and then we can look at what it looks like to give you ownership of some sort or percentage. Because again, if you prove yourself, then it makes sense, and you can grow that way opposed to then starting a new company. Now you got to compete, but it takes you so long to rise to the top because again, these bigger companies are not letting you in. You see what I'm saying? So for us, that will be an
Yeah.
advice that we give to. I mean, we do that to everybody.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
We mentor folks, we consult with people, but at the same time, our conversation is always why you want to start a business, why you want to do this. Because if you don't have a why, and your why should line up with what you're trying to do, and most of the time they're better entrepreneur than they are actual entrepreneurs because they don't have the fire, they don't have the stamina, they don't have nothing that is going to take to, do what they're that's needed to scale a company.
Mm,
And so then it's just they just lay dormant at the bottom, but then they're creating this saturation of the market. So I know it's a long answer, but we have been thinking about this for a long time,
Long
and
time.
yeah.
And that what you're saying is very true
Yeah,
because we
no,
even
that's great.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Mimi.
No, that's okay. I was just saying that's so true what Bill was saying. We that's something that we always express and even let our own team know too. Right now we have our brother and sister working with us, and they just moved back from Texas a year ago. We just realized like, oh, it's been a year now, and so they've come back to work with us. They started with us in the company, so it was never just me and Bill. We started like family owned. It was us and our brother and his wife, and so they've moved back. My brother actually moved to Texas to become a truck driver. And so he called us one day and said he was ready to come back home, and he wanted to come back and work in the business and let's push this vision forward because he see how hard we were working and seeing all what we were doing and he trusted the vision. And so he has come and he's grabbed on and at that time he started doing like some power washing or something in Texas. And so we was like that's a service that we can offer too, but he was just like for real, that's something I can do. And so instead of, going doing that on your own, we can do this together and be bigger and better together. And
Mm.
so we're just grateful to God that he was able to come back and him and his wife and they're all in and we all gas and no brakes right now. So
Yeah.
we're excited to have them back. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, really, truly inspiring, and I love that advice, right? Look at maybe entrepreneur opportunities instead of starting from scratch. So that's wonderful. Well, you two are very inspiring, Mimi, Bill. It's been a pleasure talking with you today. Um, and yeah, excited for the future for you and wish you all the best.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
So
much.
to
so
all our
much.
Thanks for the
listeners, be
opportunity.
sure to follow Tech and Tidy for more conversations like this with leaders across
Yes.
the cleaning industry, and more episodes will follow soon. So thanks, Mimi and Bill. Appreciate you
Thank you, Brent. This was
appreciate
nice.
you coming on. It's good to have you on.
Appreciate you for the
It was
opportunity.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.